language. And who says language, of course, says discourse analysis. And we talk about conjunction, and we have different types: additive conjunction, adversative conjunction, temporal conjunction. Okay. You have it actually in this slide, kind of well schematically represented. What we mean by cohesion, okay, in English language, as done or made by Mark Halliday and Hassan, 1976. So when we talk about reference, we may refer to what is personal, demonstrative, and comparative. When we talk about substitution and ellipsis, we refer to what is nominal, verbal, and clausal. Okay. When we talk about conjunction, we mean by it basic, adversative, additive, temporal, causal. And we have lexical cohesion, and especially we focus on what we call reiteration and collocation. So these elements of the slide actually schematically, okay, maps out, okay, these elements that have to do with grammatical cohesion in English or in discourse analysis. Of course, we'll talk about one by one later on. So first, what is grammatical cohesion? What do we mean by grammatical cohesion? Okay, so I give some definitions before, or some kind of, but now we have the full-fledged and on definitions. A means of creating logical and smooth connections between sentences. And this is what we have always asked you as students to pay attention to in your efforts to write sentences, paragraphs, essays, and so on and so forth. So those who are really after writing good paragraphs, good essays, and good, I don't know, monographs, whatever, research papers, they have to be very much aware, conscious, I mean, concretely conscious of this, the creation of logical and smooth connections, harmonious connections between sentences, okay, in a paragraph or essay or any piece of writing. In a text, be it paragraph, essay, article, research paper, book, whatever. So through the use of suitable, okay, suitable, I mean, grammatical elements or devices such as reference, substitution, identification, conjunction, and ellipsis. So these 5 items, you must know them, and you must know them in real, yes, in real, but of course, cognitively and in practice, practically. When you write, you are aware of them, and you know how to apply it, at least in writing. And when you, I mean, by repetition and over time, they become part of your, I mean, a linguistic cognition, okay, and competence in writing or in speaking, that they become some levels of analysis, especially in discourse analysis. So for reference, it is very simply a grammatical device usually used to achieve cohesion in texts. Okay, of course, we'll be giving examples. So it is a grammatical device, okay, used to achieve cohesion. So we say this writing is cohesive, okay, or cohesion is well maintained in this writing, or it is not well maintained in this writing. So those students who have low grades in paragraphs or in essays, sometimes when we correct language, so some of the main mistakes is this idea of cohesion. This grammatical cohesion is missing or is not well maintained in the writings. So if it is not well maintained in the writings, how can it be well maintained in their analysis of language? That's why you have the first level, you have to take very much, I mean, a lot of care, enough care of it, I mean, of grammatical cohesion in writing first. I mean, you use it, you know it, and you apply it in real terms. And once you develop this kind of linguistic habits, okay, or deform it, you kind of to the second level of, I mean, say correcting or evaluating or assessing a piece of writing, I mean, using or on the level of its grammatical cohesion. So these devices can be interpreted, okay, semantically. This is the idea, okay? Not in their own right, but it is as related to elements preceding them. So these elements, which I mean pronouns, better to understand them as semantically. I mean, take the perspective of their meanings. What did they mean? Okay. Once you know what did they mean exactly, I mean, at least the dictionary meaning, okay, that helps you how to use them, correctly, appropriately, and of course helps you to, carry out some analysis, on this level. So the idea of semantic interpretation of these elements. Okay. So reference is basically signified or indicated through the use of pronouns, okay, such as personal pronouns that all of us know: I, you, she, he, it, we, they, and so on. And demonstrative pronouns: this, that, these, those, and so on and so forth. These are personal pronouns that exemplify what we mean by reference. Okay. So reference is also signified through phoric relations. Now, a little bit more developed. Phoric relations. Okay. And generally is divided in two kinds of relations. Endophoric, okay, textual reference, and exophoric, that is situational contextual reference. We've been talking since the beginning of this class about the idea of the semantic level, okay, textual semantic level, and the situational contextual pragmatic level of texts. It's the very beginning. So the idea of text and context. Well, now you have it explained in terms of reference or in terms of grammatical cohesion from the point of reference as far as phoric relations are concerned, especially endophoric and exophoric relations. That is the textual semantic and the situational contextual reference inside a text, be it a sentence, be it an utterance, be it a paragraph, be it a demonstration of language. Are you following? Is that clear?
Yes, Professor.
Yes, sir.
Fine. So in the phoric reference, let me see if anyone of them wants to join first. And okay. Okay. So in the phoric reference, also known as textual reference, okay, is a kind of reference that exists in the text, within the text, not outside the text. Because discourse analysis, okay, it at certain levels, okay, especially deep, advanced levels, we don't deal only with the inside the text, but also outside the text. Elements is outside, okay. So, but up to now, what we want to say grammatical cohesion. So we are within all what we have inside the text, nothing outside it. Okay. So the reference are inside the text and can either be anaphoric or cataphoric. These reference, so they can be either anaphoric or cataphoric. An anaphoric reference, most common concerns a textual element, okay, whose reference precedes it in text. So something inside text. For example, Thomas came yesterday, but he did not see me. Okay. I'll give you a very simple example now, so that things can be clear. Thomas came yesterday, but he did not see me. So the pronoun he and in, but he did not see me, he is an anaphoric reference. Why? Because it refers to the proper pronoun Thomas. So we have this reference between he and Thomas. This reference, we call it anaphoric. Anaphoric. Okay. Please bear this in mind. Because it refers back to this given name. Thomas or Ahmed or, I don't know, James or anyone. So pronouns are basically anaphoric. Pronouns in English are basically anaphoric. Okay, but sometimes they can be cataphoric when the reference pronoun, for example, okay, precedes the reference, the reference, what it refers to. Okay, well, it does come before it precedes, so it is cataphoric, not anaphoric. Okay, for example, okay. Fine. He walked in the room, okay? He walked into the room looking haggard. Haggard. Haggard, someone like, I don't know, hungry, tired, very down, exhausted, haggard, okay? The man stood by the door, okay? The man stood by the door to my living room, and I was wondering who he was, okay? His look was expressionless. So I kept looking at him, okay? I later beckoned to him, okay, to come in. It took me some time to recognize Mr. Adams, but much later, okay, I was able to identify some of his old features that I used to know when we were at the theater's college. Okay. I quickly embraced him. Okay, sit down, Mr. Adams. I'm sorry, I did not quickly recognize you, I said. He sat down and we started talking. This is a passage, okay, a narrative passage, okay, taken from, say, a novel or short story, okay, where we have anaphora, cataphora, endophora, exophora, I mean, well exemplified. So, like here we have cataphoric reference, okay, which is sometimes employed for literary effects, okay, when you write a novel or a story or whatever, okay, to create suspense. So we said he, the man, who he was, his looks, him. I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 reference or personal pronouns used before we come to realize that this, he, and him, and the man is Mr. Adams. So all these pronouns, he, I know, he is, him, whatever, which precede, okay, Mr. Adam, are cataphoric, I mean, reference, or represent, or pronouns that represent cataphoric reference. Okay. And they refer to what? To Mr. Adam. Okay. So this is used, for example, for the to create the effect of systems. Okay. And we use it actually in when we talk sometimes. We refer to someone, okay, not by his name in the beginning, and we talked about him and know about her for quite some time, and then we come at a point, then we give the name of this person. So this is what's called cataphoric reference. So by the middle of the text, we figured out the third person male pronouns refer to Mr. Adams. So we have also anaphoric references highlighted. We have cataphoric and we have anaphoric. Those anaphoric highlighted in green, okay? His and him, I have that, okay? To the belatedly revealed Mr. Adams. It's clear?
Yes, Professor.
Yes, Professor.
Okay. So if you are asked, give us a passage, and you are asked them, okay, you analyze it, okay, using an approach to discourse analysis based on grammatical cohesion, okay, from the perspective of anaphora and cataphora. Okay. So you can do something like that. Yes, anaphoric reference. Okay, points of analysis. Exophoric, on the other hand, it's what we mean. It means actually the situation and the context, with situational contextual reference. It is a reference also to what is outside the text. What is outside the text, not inside the text. So we'll talk about the paralinguistic level of analysis, but it is also a type of reference that you have to bear in mind based on grammatical cohesion. So exophoric or exophora, okay, or exophoric reference, it refers especially to those elements which are outside the text, but which of course contribute to the cohesion of the text. What the text can be. The elements that are not within the text, okay, the context or situation surrounding the text or where the text is happening. So discourse analysis is kind of, combining these the textual, the semantic, and the situational, contextual, elements. What is inside text and what is outside the text. For example, can you come here and let me see that? For example, so you have here, here, okay, and that as two pronouns. So here, somewhere closer to the speaker, come here, I don't know, near the desk, for example, okay? And that's something in the hands of the addressee, that, okay, that, in the hands of the addressee, a book, for example, maybe, or maybe, I don't know, cell phone, or, I don't know, whatever thing, that. So, are exophoric elements. So here and that are exophoric elements that we only understand by considering the context where they are produced. So it takes the listener and the speaker and the listener, okay, both the addresser and the addressee, in a given context, and only though both they know, only those present in that context know what does here refer to and what does that refer to. So here, how close to the speaker, and that what kind of item or what kind of thing or what kind of elements that the addressee has in his or her hands. We call them exophoric, elements or reference. So these are very simple examples, so that you can have, kind of, or catch a kind of concrete understanding of what we mean by endophora, exophora, anaphora, cataphora in grammatical cohesion analysis of whatever given discourse. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, nice. Holiday and Hassan, okay, they recognize three types of reference. So now we are talking some semantics, but also some social semantics, or social semiotics. Holiday and his wife Hassan, Ruqayya Hassan. So personal reference, demonstrative reference, and comparative reference. These three types. With them in mind. Personal reference, demonstrative reference, and comparative reference. For personal reference, of course, it's about personal pronouns used to refer to people mostly. Examples: Catherine just returned from party. She is very tired. Okay, so she is a personal pronoun, of course, used to refer to Catherine. Okay, so this is what we mean by an example of personal reference. Okay, Smith just came back from the youth camp. I saw her yesterday. I saw her yesterday. The same. So I and her. Of course, I refers to me. Also refers to Smith, and her refers to refers to the speaker, and her refers to Smith. Okay, who came just came the camp yesterday. These are personal pronouns, okay, and that we use to maintain or to apply or maintain personal reference in a very simple examples like this one and two. The second one is demonstrative reference. Okay, this type of reference is expressed by means of location determined by the writer or speaker. Okay, that locates along a scale of proximity. A scale of proximity. You have the idea of proxemics in here. So how close or how far something or someone is from to someone or to something. For example, finish your work and come here, please. For example. So here, okay, again, you can imagine the situation. Okay, a teacher talking to students, or I don't know, a boss talking to a worker in a company, and someone to finish your work and come here, please, maybe to the desk, maybe to the office, maybe somewhere. So this here is known to the speaker and to the listener. Yeah. So it can be determined, identified based on the context of the situation, the setting of this communication act. those movies are my favorites. Yeah, so there can those. So like I don't know which movies. I mean, of course, only the speaker and the person who know which movies. I mean, the speaker is talking about. Maybe they are talking about some exchange about some movies, and they have, I mean, mentioned in names, so 3 or 4 movies. Okay, and one of the speaker says that those movies, okay, movie 1, 2, and 3 are my favorites. So here it is a reference, demonstrative, I mean, reference using the pronoun those. He says something that I can't remember, for example. He says something that I cannot. That again refers to that something that a speaker said. Okay, with something we don't know as readers of this short text. Okay, the sentence, but only it's known to the speaker, the real speaker, and the real, I mean, listener. Okay, for comparative reference, it is a form of reference, okay, that is established by means of similarity or identity. Similarity or identity, yeah, because they are comparing, yes, how similar or how identical to things or to elements. Yes? Someone speaking? So asking a question? No? Okay. Fine. Are you following?
Yes, Professor.
Yes, Professor.
Yes.
Okay. So these little cuts, for example, you have an example of comparative reference. These little cuts, okay, are very playful, okay, but one is not as playful as others. So here you have the idea of comparing, okay, one cut to other cuts, okay, but one is not as playful as. So as playful as is a manner of comparison between 2 things or 2 people or 2 animals or whatever. But one, and of course, one here is used, I mean, to refer to cuts, or to avoid repetition. But one, these cuts are very playful. So you have 3 or 4 cuts, they are your cuts, and you know them. They are very playful, okay. But still, you know that one of these 3 or 4 cuts is not as playful as others. Maybe he is less playful than the others. So to mark this comparison between these little cuts, you can do one, okay, to avoid repetition, and as plus others again. I mean to mark this comparison. Then you have 2 sentences. First one is a simple sentence, okay. These cuts are very playful, okay. Full stop. Then a second sentence, okay, where we refer, of course, the reference to these little cuts, okay. And there's a reference to their playfulness, of course, but avoidation, we used one and others, and we use the comparison or comparative, I mean, medium as playful as, or as religious points as. You have taken enough apples, for example. Others may also need some, okay. Like you're talking to someone, okay, who, okay, in front of them there are, a basket of apples, okay, and someone who came and then took, I don't know, many apples, for example, but he wasn't aware of that there are others who also want to take apples like him. So somebody else said, well, you've taken enough apples. Think of others who haven't taken any yet. So others may also need some. That is, what you've taken is enough. Stop taking apples, okay? Take no more apples, okay? And let others who may need to take also some. So this some by itself, of course, it's in reference. There is ellipsis that is, who may also need some apples, but have only some need for apples. So here we have ellipsis, okay? And some, of course, in reference to apples. Yeah, in reference to apples. And in reference to guests or people who may come and may need to take some apples and eat them. So this is what we mean by what we call comparative reference. Comparative reference, established by means of similarity and identity. This is the idea. As you have taken these apples, others also are similar. Okay, by similarly also mean to take apples as you have done. So think of that. So the word some by itself, I mean, is a reference to what has preceded, I mean, in the first text of first sentence. So Holiday and Hassan emphasize that what distinguishes, what differentiates, okay, reference from other types of cohesion is that it is overwhelmingly, strongly nominal in character. It is not purely, completely, but it is, I mean, overwhelmingly, or can I say mostly nominal in character, with the exception of demonstratives and some comparative adverbs. So all reference items are found within the nominal group. Yeah, in the nominal group, in a noun phrase, if you want to say, nominal groups. So this is again very important. That reference, okay, what makes it different from other types, okay, of cohesion in a given language or text, okay, is its nominality. Okay. Or that it is most frequently found as nominal, okay, not verbal, for example. Okay. Not verbal, but mostly nominal. Okay. So comparative reference, to make it clear actually, okay, you have to say comparative reference is expressed through adjectives mostly and adverbs, and serves to compare items within a text in terms of identity and similarity. Yes, comparative, as I said actually, comparative reference. It is a form of reference that is established by means of similarity and identity. So it is expressed through mostly adjectives, okay, and adverbs. When we try to compare two things, people, we find obliged to use adjectives and adverbs. So this person is, say, more intelligent than this person, for example. So intelligent person, intelligent is an adjective, and we have this more as expressing the quantity or the amount of, or how much intelligence is this person different from the other guy. Also we use adverbs, okay, so for comparison, and this serves to compare items within a text in terms of identity or in terms of similarity, matter of degree. Okay, for example, would you like these seats? Would you like these seats? No. As a matter of fact, I'd like the other seats, for example. So here, of course, there's a comparison of seats, okay, in a given setting, okay, and talking to someone, I mean, would like these kind of seats, okay, or a different kind of seats. So, in fact, I'd like the other seats. Depends on, say, we don't know which the speakers are talking about actually, but we can imagine situation and think that maybe the B answers or response to E to see that, I mean, the seats you've pointed to me where you want me and my friends to take and sit, I mean, and take them as our seats, we don't like them, maybe for sense of comfort or sense of whatever, but we like the other seats. So by way of comparison between these seats and the other seats, B has come to the conclusion that the other seats maybe are better or more comfortable than the seats A has pointed to B. So there is a kind of comparison in terms of identity, in terms of similarity, or in terms of in other similar terms. So when you have something like this, then you have comparative reference is being manifest. Okay? And you have to in this situation, and then you have to kind of, I mean, comment on it in the way I just did right now. Are you following?
Yes, Professor.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Nice. Okay. Is that clear enough?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So these are the levels of, the basic levels of discourse analysis. How we can, carry out or do a discourse analysis in terms of reference, at least. Okay. We do substitution now. Okay. Substitution. We have talked about reference. Okay. We move to, and I said, of course, you can talk lectures about reference. Okay. But I've given enough basic, basics about for the time being. Now move to substitution. Substitution, it simply means the replacement, and please pay attention, the replacement of one element by another having the same meaning in a given text. Okay? Replacement of one element, one item, another item, okay, having the same meaning in a given text. Okay, of course, having the same meaning. Okay, otherwise replacements won't function. Like in translation. Okay, we translate the source text, okay, by a target text. The target text is thought of as a replacement of the source text. And of course, when it comes by means of meaning, by means of semantics, they are just the same because they say the same, they cast the same message. So there are three types actually of substitution. Three types. Okay. Nominal substitution, verbal substitution, and clausal substitution. Yeah, you have these three types: verbal, nominal, verbal, clausal substitutions. I'll give you examples. New members have just joined our team. New members have just joined our teams. The oldies, the old ones, the oldies, okay, are starting to lose their fitness. Yeah, this is a nominal substitution. We use the oldies, the old guys in the team. Okay, maybe the oldies, not only old in age. Okay, the oldies, okay, are starting to lose their fitness because of age, maybe, or because of less exercise, maybe. So the new members have judged on our team. Why? Because the oldies are starting to lose their fitness. Here we have nominal substitution. Okay, because the oldies is the example or the item that expressing this nominal situation. It's a noun used there. Okay, not a verb. He does not like to drink soda, but she does. Okay, someone talking about X, Mr. X, doesn't like to drink soda. Okay, be it Coke or any kind of soda. Okay, but she, as a lady, she does. So we have does here actually as to do, the verb or the auxiliary to do. Okay, and so we have here a case of verbal substitution. Verbal substitution. So instead of he does not like to drink soda, but she does like to drink soda. So she does like to drink soda. Like to drink soda is omitted, okay, and we just skip she, but she does. This is a example of verbal substitution. I'm giving very basic examples so you can internalize, okay, cognitively. In a clear manner. What we mean by substitution, nominal verb, and clause. The third example, many people think money buys happiness, but she doesn't think so. Okay. Like you want to say, many people think money buys happiness, but she doesn't think that money buys happiness. Okay, she doesn't think so. So is used in this example. Okay, in ellipsis of money buys happiness. Okay, and to express to us what we call clausal substitution, because many people think money buys happiness. So money buys happiness is a clause. Okay, a subordinate clause removed and replaced by the pronoun so. So she doesn't think so. Yeah. So we have here the three examples of nominal, verbal, and clausal substitution. You might be given a very example like this and say, is it a case of which kind of substitution is maintained in this example? then you have to pay attention. Is it verbal? Is it nominal? Is it substitute? Is it a clause? So noun, verb, or clause, yeah, are manifest in this. In addition to this, what we call cardinal numerals. Okay, cardinal numerals are also used to express substitution. For example, to exemplify these cardinal numerals, there are many language mistakes in your writing. Can you point out one? So, can you point out one? One is functions. The category is a cardinal. Numeral. Okay. Is used to substitute. Okay. Substitute one of these many language mistakes. Yeah. So, can you point out one? Okay, one in reference to one of these many language mistakes in your writing. Okay, so here are cardinal numerals. Okay, to express substitution, we have substituted or we have replaced. Okay, one of these many language mistakes in your writing by the word one or by the cardinal numeral one, or maybe two. Okay, can you point out two? Can you point out three? Because there are many. Okay, for example, it'd be more than 10. So can you point out 2 or 3 or 1 or 4 or 6 or whatever? These numbers or these cardinal numerals, are used to substitute or to replace, one or 2 or 3 of these many language mistakes in your writing. So the word one is a cardinal numeral used as a substitute for language mistake. Very simply. Now we talk about ellipses. Ellipses, okay. We talked about reference, substitution. Now, ellipses as levels of grammatical cohesion from a semantic, okay, and grammatical perspective, especially based on Holiday and Hassan and other, linguists or other discourse analysts. So, ellipsis, okay, it simply means the omission of a lexical item, not the replacement. You will have it later. Maybe difficult to distinguish between substitution and ellipsis. So substitution is about replacing some items by one item. Okay, but ellipsis, it's mainly simply means the omission, the removal, the deletion. Okay, of a lexical item, usually easily understood from inside the text. So Holiday and Hassan define ellipsis as what they call substitution zero. Substitution zero. That is why zero? Because it is a complete deletion, not replacement. We don't replace, we delete, we remove once for all. So unlike substitution, where an item is used to replace a reference, in ellipsis, nothing is used to replace the omitted item. Nothing is used to replace the omitted item. Yet the reader or the listener can identify the zero elements. Something is omitted, yet it is understood from the context. Not replaced, omitted, not replaced, but understood. That is the idea. Omitted, not replaced, but understood from the context. So the missing or the omitted, elements are presupposed. We talked before about presupposition. Okay. When we related the example of the baby Peter, if you remember. Okay, so presupposition indicated by the whole meaning of the text. Yeah, the whole meaning of the text. Anyway, again, you have 3 types of ellipses. We have nominal ellipses, we have verbal ellipses, and we have clausal ellipses. For example, Robert came home quickly, had his bath, and rushed out. Okay? Robert came home quickly, comma, had his bath, and rushed out. Fine. So we have here nominal substitution. There is an ellipsis within the nominal group. The proper noun or its personal reference, he, is omitted, yet easily understood. You can say, Robert came home quickly, Robert had his bath, and Robert rushed out. So, or Robert came home quickly, he had his bath, and he rushed out. So we omit the repetition of Robert or he in the two actions, had his bath, okay, and rushed out. We have two actions, taking the bath and rushing out. But we use only one subject, Robert, at the beginning, and we omitted it in the two other actions. We have three actions, okay, done or played by the same subjects. It's Robert, who did came home quickly, who did have his bath, and who did rush out. So we use only Robert at the beginning, and we omitted he or Robert in the two other actions. This is referred to by nominal substitution. For verbal ellipsis, okay, it is an ellipsis within the verbal group, of in a sentence or in a clause. For example, they may travel this summer or may not. So they may travel this summer or they may not travel this summer. Okay, so or they may not travel this summer. We just squeezed it or compacted to or may not. So travel is omitted. Lexical verb, ellipsis. So this is again a level of grammatical cohesion. So this is one, actually I'm giving examples how to use or how to maintain grammatical cohesion in your writings. Yeah, when you are writing, of course, whatever paragraph or essay and so on. So you have to be aware of this, and of course to use it in your writing. Of course, those who have developed the habit of writing a lot and writing good English, they do this, and maybe it become kind of unconscious. Okay, you don't even feel it. You do it without even feeling it. But it's far better to be aware of it. Okay, you know what? When I say, for example, they may travel this summer or may not, I know what kind of grammatical cohesion I used in this. So it is ellipsis, and it is lexical verb ellipsis. For examples, some were cooking and others sweeping the floor. So were is omitted actually. Others were sweeping the floor. Were is omitted. So it's an auxiliary ellipsis. We did omit the auxiliary or the auxiliary to be in the second or first plural. Person to be in the participle parts. The were. So some were cooking, and others were sweeping the floor. And others sweeping the floor. You just omit were. It is grammatical, it is cohesive, it is by means of or thanks to the use of ellipsis or auxiliary ellipsis. For clause ellipsis, it means omitting a whole clause, okay, or a portion of it. A whole clause or a portion of it. Usually in conversations, when we talk, okay, when we converse with each other, which usually have enough contextual clues that help understand the whole meaning. For example, what are you doing? Okay, B answering watching TV. Okay, watching TV. So we have a substantial portion of the clause in this example is omitted, yet the meaning is not lost. What are you doing? I am watching TV. Yeah. Will you join me and go shopping? Yes. Of course, you can say yes, I will. Okay, but just yes. So I will is completely is omitted. Ellipsis in there. So these are simple examples. To kind of simplify your understanding of these. Grammatical cohesion. Levels. of discourse analysis. So the whole clause is left out in this example. Here the word yes, okay, alone has preserved, okay, or subsumed, okay, internalized, okay, subsumed the meaning of the committed, the omitted clause. It has rendered redundant, okay, any other thing we may want to say. I mean, like, yes is enough. Yeah. Will you join me and go shopping? Yes. Yeah. You of course can say yes, I will. Oh, yes, why not? Yes, with pleasure. Yes, let's go. Yeah, yeah. It's an yeah. I'm excited. But different ways how to. But just with yes, enough. And we use ellipses. I mean to so that you don't have to kind of add those words. They are grammatical. If you add them, it's grammatical. But if you, omit them, it's grammatically cohesive. Yeah, because in this conversation A and B, it's short conversation. It's grammatically cohesive. Yeah, because why? Because we have ellipses, and it is clausal ellipsis. Because the clause "I will join you and go shopping" it's omitted. Yeah, there. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Professor.
Thank you.
Okay. Now let's talk about identification. Okay, identification. It means very simply to use determiners to show that the noun phrases are co-referential. Co-referential. They refer to each other. Co-referential. Okay. Noun phrases are co-referential with some preceding items, usually a noun or noun phrase, okay, as explained by Arimo 2004. So these determiners include the definite article, the, okay, the, and demonstrative pronouns such as this, that, those, okay. For example, a man visited us yesterday. A man visited us yesterday. The man was a friend of my brother. Okay, so of course we ask who is the man. Okay, so we refer to him first, a man. Okay, a man. We don't know. It's not well identified. The second sentence, the man was a friend of my brother. We kind of identify which man. Okay, who is this man who did visit us yesterday? Not Mr. Y, Mr. X, is a man who was a friend of my brother. Friend of not a friend of mine, of my father or mom, whatever, but a friend of my brother. Okay, so we identify it. Okay, we use identification, okay, to mark cohesion in here, because if you keep a man as yesterday and it's so, we don't know what we are talking about. So the man I'm talking about is the man who was a friend of my brother. And the listener, of course, is supposed to know you, the speaker, and to know his brother, and to know the friend of his brother. That is the context, the situation. Okay. So that's what I mean. Reference is contextual, is situational. Okay. Okay. It goes outside the text. Yeah. It refers to other things outside the text. I have heard a lot of alarming stories about brain drain. Okay. Those stories made me feel sad about my country. Okay. Again, I have heard a lot of alarming stories about brain drain. Okay. Those stories. So which kind of stories are known to the listener, to the speaker, and the receiver, the listener of and the listener of this message. He knows which stories. Maybe some few, 3, 4, 5 stories, okay, that the speaker has heard about, okay, maybe in the media, maybe on, I don't know, from somebody else. So those stories, yeah, stories that the speaker has heard of, okay, about brain drain. Those stories, made me feel sad about my country. So the pronoun. Those pronoun those, it is used to identify or to mark identification, in this context. Yeah. So it means we try to determine, to show that these noun phrases are co-referential. Like those stories and a lot of alarming stories, they refer to each other. They are co-referential. Yes. They refer to each other and they stand for each other and they mean the same thing. Yes. So they are co-referential. Yeah. So these are concepts that you have to internalize, okay, and bear in mind, and of course, and use in your writing about discourse analysis and doing your discourse analysis. Yeah. Reference, ellipsis, identification, substitution, and so on and so forth. Today we have said many actually concepts from anaphora, cataphora, endophora, exophora, and then ellipsis and so on. And all the types of reference, types of cohesion, and these types of, cohesion, grammatical cohesion, and reference, ellipsis, substitution, identification. Okay, so Catherine is married to a modest and generous man. Okay. That woman is really lucky. So we're talking about Catherine, someone, okay, a speaker, okay, or a sender of a message talking to the receiver about a lady called Catherine, and he is talking, saying that, informing us that she is married to a modest and generous man. Okay, so that woman, okay, that Catherine is really lucky. We use the personal pronoun, demonstrative pronoun as, okay, to mark identification between these two sentences. Okay, so using the co-referential processing of Catherine and that woman. So Catherine stands for that woman and that woman refers to Catherine. So they are co-referential. Is that clear?
Yes, Professor.
Yes.
Do you have any questions? Okay, how about conjunction? Okay, conjunction, fine. Another level of grammatical cohesion in adopting a linguistic approach to discourse analysis. Okay, fine. Conjunction, very simply, as you know, it refers to any explicit, not implicit, markers of connection. Markers of connection between clauses, sentences, or structures of language in a given text. We call them also linkers or connectors. Linkers or connectors between clauses and sentences. Okay? Clauses and sentences. Please pay attention to this. Bringing or cementing them together. Bringing them together in a harmonious or cohesive manner. So, according to Halliday again and Hassan, conjunctive elements are not cohesive in themselves. Conjunctive elements are not cohesive in themselves as they are, as such, okay? But they help ensure cohesion by means of their specific meanings. By means of their specific meanings. So we talk about the semantics or about the meanings of these conjunctive elements. Yeah, as I said just earlier. So it is the very meanings of those conjunctive elements which ensure cohesion and by implication, to some extent, coherence between clauses and sentences. We'll give examples, okay? So they identify 4 categories. Khalid and Hassan identify 4 categories of conjunctive relations. 4: additive, adversative, clausal, and temporal. Okay? Additive conjunctions, okay? It refers to marking addition that you have learned study in maybe in S1 and S2 and S3 writing classes, okay? Marking conjunction, okay? Marking addition, okay? Between clauses and sentences. Yes, so further, moreover, other, know, the more, and etc. These yet, so, and further, moreover, any one of these, they have meanings. What we have remarked as teachers that some students, if not many students, when they use this kind of conjunctions, okay, be them additive, whatever, don't really know the meaning of each one of them. Yeah. And those students who know the meanings of these additive conjunctions, okay, they manage to provide cohesive, well-made, cohesive pieces of writing. So when we say further, it means something. When we say farther, it means something. When we say moreover, it does mean something. When we say therefore, it means something. When we say earlier, it means something. So those meanings are the most important elements behind. They should be the best, the most essential element behind our choice and use of these conjunctions. This is for writing proficiency. Okay, but for discourse analysis, we have to identify them, of course, by category and by meaning, okay, and by placement in the sentence or in the clause or in the text. Okay. What function they perform there, and is grammatical cohesion maintained or not maintained? Okay, by these because you may be given a short text where you have, say, some additive conjunctions. Okay, that are misplaced or misused, okay, on purpose, okay, and you may be asked, I mean, is grammatical cohesion maintained in this stretch of text, for example, okay, from the perspective of, additive conjunction, for example, or from the perspective of conjunction, okay. Okay, and then you have to deal with every one of these, I don't know, conjunctions, and say whether they are first, the place and the meaning, of these conjunctions is appropriate, is correct, or is not, is misappropriately, used. Yeah. For examples, okay, examples. He traveled overseas, and he made lots of money. Yeah. So we have one guy who traveled overseas and made lots of money. We have and here as an additive conjunction, okay, that expresses, of course, first conjunction, connecting the two sentences, or the two, main clauses, because we have he traveled overseas is a main clause, and he made lots of money also is a main is a main clause. We have subject and verb and complement. And connecting the two. So expression connection, expression conjunction, and expressing the idea of succession of, or logical succession of events or of actions. Yeah, traveling overseas and making lots of money as two actions, one after the other, but they are logically successive and logically connected to each other. It's like if you can imagine the context of American, usually those who travel abroad, say any Western European country or in state, whatever, usually it is linked to making money or making lots of money. So the connection, the conjunction, and the succession is logical of events or of the actions is logical. Second, the students studied hard, yet they did bad in the exams. Yeah, almost the same thing, but we have the opposite. Yet, these 5 students working hard, blah blah blah. They did not do well in the exam. Again, okay, another conjunction, connecting the two, say, sentences or main clauses. Okay. I was so tired last night, so I could not finish writing my essay. Okay, so you're going to have two main clauses or two sentences. Okay, I was so tired last night, and I could not finish writing my essay, and so as expressing this idea of conjunction between the two clauses, the two sentences, in terms of conjunction, in terms of connection, in terms of succession of actions. Because I was so tired last night, I could not finish writing my essay. So you have and, yet, so as examples of additive conjunction, okay, which simply refers to marking addition, okay, between words and sentences by means of additive conjunctions like such, yet, I don't know, and, yet, so forth. Is that clear again?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are you following?
Yes, we are.
Yes, Professor.
Fine, fine. Okay, more. We're talking about adversative conjunction, okay? It refers to the establishment of oppositional meaning relations. Oppositional meaning relations between preceding and succeeding clauses, okay, by means of contrary conjunctions, signal words, okay? Such as but, however, instead, and so on. So it's by expressing oppositional meaning relations. That's why I said, I mean, these actually connectors or linkers, whatever, or markers or discourse markers, they have meanings, yeah, of addition, of opposition, of juxtaposition, of concession, of depends. I mean, and those meanings have to be present in the mind of the writer or the speaker, as well as of when you are doing a discourse analysis. So, for example, he stole the money, but denied the crime. Okay. Okay. So, but is a connector or a linker. Okay, expression additive conjunction, and expressing this oppositional semantic relationship between stealing the money and denying the crime. Yes, he did steal the money, but he denied the crime, that he denied to have stolen the money. So you have two actions: stealing and the money, and denying the crime, come brought together or cemented together by a adversative conjunction, which is but. That's all of you know. So but here marks a level of adversative conjunction, okay, establishing an oppositional semantic relationship between the two actions. Winter had quickly elapsed, full stop. However, comma, the rainfall has been too meager this year. Winter finished, it's over, okay? But the rainfall is too little. So here we have like sentence, okay? Winter had quickly elapsed. However, comma, then another new sentence or semi-clause. The rainfall has been too meager to this year. However, again, is marking adversative conjunction between the two sentences. Okay. Of course, in terms of or meaning this oppositionality in semantic relationship. Of course, to just actions. Winter, I mean, elapsing very quickly, and the rainfall doesn't add up to enough quantity that can be useful enough to irrigate whatever agricultural products, you want to say, for agriculture. So we have the meager rainfall and quick winter. Yes. Cemented together by however. So however, meaning here, it means, of course, the idea of oppositionality, between the two actions. Winter ended, but little rain water, if you want to say. You were planning to pursue your higher studies in England, full stop. Instead, you went to Japan after you secured a comfortable scholarship, for example. So you went to pursue your higher studies or education, okay, in England. Someone who was planning to pursue his higher education in England. Instead, he went to Japan after he secured a comfortable, scholarship. So instead, it does adversative conjunction, okay, between these two, sentences, in terms of oppositionality, okay, of two successive or somewhat sensitive, actions. Yeah, planning to go to England to pursue her education, and dropping this plan and then make it to Japan because of having a or having skewed or having gained a comfortable scholarship. More, I will talk about causal conjunction. Talks about adversative. Now talk about causal, conjunction. It refers to the cause and effect relationship between clauses or sentences, signifying results, very simply, okay, purpose or reason by means of signal words such as so, hence, therefore, consequently, and so on. For example, as he or as she lost her money, Lucy could not travel abroad. Yeah. So this is a causal conjunction, like you have cause and effect coming together. So she got late to work, full stop. Consequently, she was reprimanded by her boss. So as and consequently are two causal conjunctions, okay, connecting the two sentences or main clauses in one, if you want to say, in one stretch of continuous stretch of language, expressing cause and effect relationship. We have cause and we have an effect coming immediately afterwards. But she lost her money, so she could not travel abroad. Yeah. Money is lost, basically. And she got late to work, then her boss reprimanded or kind of addressed her in a kind of, say, reprimanding or kind of accusing manner. To reprimand. So bich. Yeah. We'll talk about now temporal conjunction. Yes, yeah. And it refers to time sequenced relationships. Time sequenced relationships. Please bear in mind these discourse and assignment concepts here. Time sequence relationships and clauses and so on. These are concepts and they are, terms or concepts and words that we use to when we carry out very basic discourse as we are doing right now. Yes, very simple sentences like the ones you've maybe come across in your S1, S2, S4, I don't know. But how you maintain and how you understand, so to make it easier for you to understand, and not only to understand, of course, to understand this grammatical cohesion as an approach to discourse analysis, and how it is used, okay, and how it can be explained or analyzed or commented using discourse analysis, words and concepts. So sequenced relationships between two or more successive sentences. Yeah. So this could be sequential. Okay. Sequential, like say, then, next, and so on and so forth. Or it can be simultaneous. Say simultaneously at the same time, also at the same moments, and so on. Or preceding, like earlier, previously, or immediate, at once, immediately, or durative, meanwhile. So you have these five, types of temporal conjunction: sequential, simultaneous, preceding, immediate, durative. How to express sequential? How to express any one of these? You have examples. Then, next, simultaneously, at the same time, so on, so forth. Meanwhile, and so on and so forth. So temporal conjunction is the level of grammatical cohesion that we have to maintain in writing, and we have to maintain and adopt or use in doing discourse analysis. For example, I made my readings, okay? Then I wrote my reports. To write a report or to write a research monograph or research paper, you have first to make readings, okay? So I made my readings, Finished, I'm done with that. Then I wrote my report. So then is a temporal conjunction I use to mark the successiveness or the sequential relationship between the first action and the second action, okay? Or the first sentence and the second sentence, or the first main clause and the second main clause. I made readings, making readings, and writing the report. Then comes in between to connect the two using temporal conjunction. Okay. Sequential temporal conjunction in a time sequence relationship. Second, he was informed he had been shortlisted for the job interview. Immediately, he started hard preparation lest he would lose his chance. So he was informed that he had been shortlisted. Okay? I don't know, he applied for a company or any institution to work for a job. Okay. After application, okay, they found him or they contacted him, they emailed him that he was shortlisted, like selected for the interview, okay, job interview. So immediately after, as soon as he had been shortlisted for the job interview, and as soon as he had known of that, okay, he immediately started hard preparation for fear he may not succeed in this interview and lose this chance. So immediately is an immediate a case of immediate temporal conjunction. Okay, temporal conjunction. Okay, from the type of immediate type. Okay, that we use at once, or we use immediately, or at the very moment, or in the spur of the moment. We use to express this immediacy. So immediacy of expressed by temporal conjunction immediately. So it connecting again these two actions in here: being shortlisted for interview and preparing hard for the interview, lest he would not lose. He would lose this chance. The next example: I was busy preparing for the finals, final exams. Meanwhile, my sister was busy arranging for her engagement ceremony. Okay, so we have here a durative temporal conjunction case. Yeah, expressing or using grammatical cohesion. You see, cohering between being busy preparing for the finals by me and being busy arranging for engagement ceremony by my sister. So we have two different actions and two subjects. Okay. Two different subjects, different actions. One is preparing for finals, the other is preparing for engagement and ceremony. Cemented together by this derivative temporal conjunction, time sequence relationship using immediate. Sorry, using meanwhile. Yeah. Is that clear?
Yes, Professor.
Yes,
Yes, Professor.
yes,
Okay.
Professor.
Okay, now we move to something new. So lexical cohesion. Lexical cohesion. Now we are with grammatical cohesion, and we move now to lexical cohesion. Okay. As another approach, or another linguistic approach to discourse analysis. Yeah. That is how one of the approaches to carry out or to do a discourse analysis in the basic terms. So you can adopt the approach called lexical cohesion. We have grammatical cohesion, and we have now lexical cohesion. Okay. So the main items to be studied and understood by you at this level. So first, what is lexical cohesion? We have to define it. What is lexical cohesion? And we'll be talking about these elements called reiteration, synonymy, antonymy, hyponymy, meronymy, and collocation. These are elements that you have, again, to internalize, bear in mind, clear. Okay. Reiteration, synonymy, antonymy, hyponymy, meronymy, and collocation. So the objectives of this is that first to explain clearly what is meant by the term lexical cohesion. It means what exactly, and make a clear distinction between grammatical and lexical cohesion. You might be asked a question in the exam. Okay, make clear the distinction between grammatical and lexical cohesion, giving 2 or 3 examples. This can be a question, for example. Yeah. So then you have to define what is grammatical cohesion, and you give the levels that we have about, and then you define what is lexical cohesion, and then you give the levels of it, and you give an examples. And if you are given, asked to compare, they have to compare grammatical cohesion approach to lexical cohesion approach, okay, using the different levels we are talking about right now today. Identify any instance of lexical cohesion in a written or spoken text. Analyze a text to bring out and explain the lexical cohesive devices. Okay. Devices. These are the objectives behind our focus on what we call what is called lexical cohesion. So, what is lexical cohesion? Okay. Of course, you know the word lexical is about lexicon, lexicality, and lexicalness or lexicality, and you know the word cohesion, of course, the of having in this cohesiveness in writing or in speaking, okay. Grammatical and lexical as the two main levels. So lexical cohesion, okay, it's about lexicality, okay, and maintaining this the lexical, relationships, bringing together, saying clauses or sentences in a stretch of writing on a given text. So primarily it concerns what? The use of what is called lexical chain. Lexical chain, okay, which is a set or a sequence. A set or a sequence of related items, words, okay, connecting and unifying a text. Connecting and unifying a text in a cohesive manner. A cohesive manner. So it has to do with what we call lexical chain. This chain of words, of items brought together, connected together harmoniously, cohesively, so that the sentences or the text has a clear and cohesive, coherent meaning. Okay, this chain, it helps provide the text to understand. And an ambiguous, ambiguous term or identify concept that a term represents. Yeah. That's why we about collocation, yes, or reiteration, okay, or synonymy, okay, or hyponymy. There's other levels that explain this idea of lexical chain. How we chain words, how we sequence them or use them in a kind, we order them, okay, so that we produce grammatically, lexically, and semantically meaningful, text, rhythm sentences or paragraphs or whatever. So lexical cohesion involves, okay, the lexical selection. Lexical selection, that is the selection of lexicon or selection of words. Lexical selection, and also we'll talk about lexical selectiveness. Yeah, that we have to be contextually, semantically, and contextually selective. That is picking up or choosing the right words for the right meanings in the right context. So lexical selection of words suitable to express specific meanings out of the available lexis that we have. The available lexis, the available vocabulary, if you want to say. When we say lexis, it's different, a little bit different from vocabulary. Anyway, it's different to the lexicon, the amount of words, amount of concepts that one knows or should know or should have under his or her control. Okay, when he or she wants to write something or say or talk about something. Yeah. So the available lexis is another concept, okay, in lexical cohesion approach to discourse analysis. Yeah. So it's going to be achieved through several lexical devices, okay, such as alliteration, hyponymy, synonymy, collocation, etc. We'll go now one by one, explaining them and giving examples. Reiteration, to reiterate is to repeat something. A reiteration, it simply refers to a repetition of particular words or items to mark reference to mark reference, and signal to indicate, okay, lexical connectedness, okay, between those or these words, okay. I give you a very basic example, okay, just a very basic example. Okay? Man is a social animal. According to religion, man was created to have dominion over all other animals. Man in the 20th century have dominated over the world more than ever before. Okay, so we have here, we reiterate the word man. Of course, we have these three sentences, you can put them in one paragraph. Man is a social being, according to the member of Allah, without those members. Okay. Then you have the reiteration of the word man, in difference, of course, to man and woman, of course, yeah, to humans in general. So that this reiteration or repetition of man 3 times, it does, I mean, refer to it repeats or reiterates a particular word, that is man, okay, to mark a reference, okay, and signal this lexical connectedness, okay, between these, I mean, sentences, okay, with these words. Man also. We can say man is a human being, Homo sapiens, or we can say the human beings, again, the same thing. I use the word man here on purpose 3 times so that it sounds clearer and easier to understand. Because man is according to religion, Homo sapiens were created to have the dominion over all the other animals. I don't know, and humans in 20th century have dominated over all the world more than ever before. So we have man, we have Homo sapien, we have a human being or human. Different words, okay? But this is the same thing. Okay? So also, it's a case of reiteration. But I use man 3 times so that you can use the same word 3 times, or maybe more sometimes. So sometimes teachers tell students, your paragraph is full of repetition. Okay. So, but it's you have to kind of avoid repetition so that your paragraph or essay will read better, for example. Okay? But repetition is not always bad. Repetition also, reiteration is sometimes healthy. And of course, it contains cohesion in writing, but if it is used appropriately, not repeating just for the sake of repetition or just because you have no new ideas in mind, or you know alternative words or lexicon or vocabulary. That you it's just repetition because the students cannot come up with alternative, I mean, sentences or clauses or appellations or words. But in this kind of context, repetition is used on purpose to mark reiteration, to mark this lexical connectedness between these 3 sentences. Is that clear?
Excuse me, teacher.
Please, what?
Lexical chain is the same of reiteration or no?
Lexical chain, as said, is a set or a sequence, okay, of related items or words connecting and unifying a text. Well, if you want to define what we mean by lexical cohesion, okay, into words, you can say lexical chain. But of course, you have to say which is a set or a sequence of the related words or items in a given text, okay? So you unify it and give it cohesion, okay, or in a cohesive manner. How to achieve this lexical cohesion, or how to achieve this lexical chain, okay, that is unifying, linking, connecting, unifying, I mean, words in a cohesive manner. We can different tools. One of these tools is reiteration. Yes, is repetition. So reiteration is not lexical chain, but it is a tool or a means whereby we achieve or we can maintain lexical.
Thank you, Professor. Yes.
So reiteration is one manifestation of lexical chain or maintaining lexical chain in a given text. Yeah. As synonym is, as hyponymy is, as we will say on. Okay?
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, fine. Anyway, time is up, but I will add a few minutes to talk about synonymy and others. So for synonymy is a lexical device. Again, it's a lexical device. So this reiteration or synonymy or hyponymy or lexical devices that we use when you write to maintain this lexical cohesion in our writing. And it is the same thing that we use as an approach to do some discourse analysis. I give you some passages before today, and I said there are examples where you might be asked to point, okay, identify cases of grammatical cohesion and cases of lexical cohesion. So grammatical cohesion, maybe you go to you identify cases of reference, cases of substitution of ellipses, for example. And if you move to lexical cohesion level of analysis, you identify the idea of lexical cohesiveness or lexical connectedness on levels of, is there any reiteration? If there is reiteration, you show it, and you give, and of course, you give the example, the proof. Okay. If there is synonymy, you show it, and you give examples. If there is hyponymy, and so on and so forth. That is, we carry out basic discourse analysis from the perspective of grammatical cohesion and the perspective of lexical cohesion. It's very, very basic. Let's allow other levels that we'll talk about on later on, inshallah. So synonymy is a lexical device, very simply, also known as equivalence relation. Equivalence relation, because synonymy is about equivalence between terms. Yeah. So, to eat and to chew and to gobble, for example, okay? They all mean eating in your mouth and chewing it and the dissent. But to eat is like the term we use for all administration. We are eating, okay? But to chew, it's different from to eat. Of course, it's putting food into your mouth and swallowing it or spinning it inside the mouth using your teeth and grinding it, and then until it becomes easy to digest, then you send it out your diaphragm, then to the stomach and so on and so forth. And to go is to eat, of course, but it's the act of eating, like, I don't know, maybe very quickly and very maybe kind of when you are very hungry, or or something is so delicious and you just gobble it up and so on and so forth. So synonymy is about equivalence between of meanings between words that are similar. Synonymy. So that's what it is about, equivalence, relation between these synonyms. That simply means the use of words with similar meanings, but in compliance with contexts. It's important. Yeah, I eat. It's not I chew. Okay. Chew. Difference maybe like kind of maybe animals that chew. Yeah, when they chew cud, C-U-D, cud. Okay, and ruminate over it later on. Okay. And to gobble up, it's different from this. And all the synonyms that you can maybe like to drink. Okay, drink water, or a swig, or maybe swallow. Yeah, and so these different words, similar meanings, but we don't use them in all contexts. In all contexts, it depends, of course, on everyone in compliance with its very appropriate context. So sometimes some students, they think, and this happens to many students, maybe in translation, in writing, you find them using words like not in the appropriate context. Yeah, they think if they use, say, for example, now to swallow, okay, instead of to eat, maybe they think they will maybe say that I know the imprestitious that they know these words and they can they want to use the word to eat, which everyone knows. We use the words that not everyone knows. Yeah, it's good, but it should be in the right context. So synonymy must be maintained in this sense, okay, in its first level of execution. So compliance context in synonymy, it's necessary. Yeah, to be just clear, it's necessary. Context compliance. Yeah. For example, of rings or lists of synonyms or near synonyms. We have synonyms and we have near synonyms. That can be used interchangeably. Yeah. Yes, for example, speech disorder, speech defect, defective speech, speech problem, and so on. So speech disorder and speech defect, yeah, they are kind of they are synonyms. Yeah. If I say speech or agrammatism and paragrammatism, for example, okay, or these words, defective speech is not speech problem by itself. All of them mean that they have problem in speech, okay, but when you say speech disorder, it may be aphasia, for example. Yeah, those who have aphasia problem, or alexia, for example, okay. So you have to look at the idea of those who have problems of speaking since they're very early, childhood, okay, and they go with that. So you have to go with them to the psychiatrist or those in speech disorder problem to help them kind of, to have solutions to that. And this, if you go, I can ask the students of linguistics, of language, you've got to know some little bit about this idea of speech disorders that so many people just suffer from in their life. So we have the idea of speech, and defective, defects, no problem. They are synonymous, okay, but they are not to be used in the same context. Let's say energy, strength, vigor, stamina, zeal, power, and so on. They are synonymous, but of course, we're not going to use, stamina in the place of power, just like this, or zeal, or zest, for example. So they are synonymous, but they are context bound. We use zest in a specific context, okay, and zeal in a given context. Okay? Someone who has a lot of courage, strong courage, burning courage. Yeah, he has, strong zeal or zest, but strong desire. Okay? So desire and zeal and zest synonymous, but not the same thing. Not the same thing. Yeah, you have to be aware of them. So like saying energy and power. Yeah. Also synonymous, but we use power in specific contexts and we use energy in other contexts. Same for flimsy, shallow, superficial, weak, trivial, transient, ephemeral. These are again synonymous by all means. Yes, yeah. But again, context counts supreme. In using any of these synonyms. So if you are given a text, short text, where you have different synonyms are used, then you have to be very much aware of context here. Because if asked to point out, cases of synonymy, and if it is appropriately maintained, their use, then you have to be aware of the meanings of these synonyms, and are they context appropriate or not? Yeah. Same. That's why I said the available lexis is very important for every language user. Yes, yeah. It depends, as you know, how much you know of a language, the volume of the lexicon that you have developed. Same for ancient, primitive, archaic, obsolete, outdated, pristine, primitive, antiquated, old. They are synonyms again. They mean more or less the same thing. Something old, something ancient, but again, they have every one of them. Every word has its own appropriate context of use. So we have examples of how synonymy is used to achieve later cohesion. Okay, a religion discourages adherence to flimsy pleasures, such as ephemeral practices will perish with the world. Okay, they are transient. So we have here flimsy, ephemeral, transient. Three synonyms. Yeah, three synonyms. Yeah. more or less the same thing, yes. Yeah. But when we talked about that religion, for example, Islam, okay, discourages, okay, adherence, addiction to, or love, or I mean, flimsy pleasures. All the pleasures that we most, or all humans by nature, I mean, love and pursue. Okay, eating, I don't know, traveling, I don't know, any kind of pleasures that you have, but they are flimsy. I mean, flimsy pleasure is flimsy. So for a good Muslim, but it's better for Muslim not to follow and pursue flimsy pleasures, but to pursue what will persist and long-standing or long-lasting, if you want, I mean, pleasures. That is, say, in some example, you have to think of akhirah more than dunya and so on and so forth. I mean, pleasures of akhirah are farther than of, I mean, hereafter life and the worldly life, far different. So the intelligent, the smart Muslim, or the intelligent, smart religious man is the one who thinks more of the hereafter, long-standing, everlasting, I mean, president, to think and focus and maybe pursue the flimsy, the short-lived, I mean, pleasures of the worldly life. As such, ephemeral practices or activities which last for a short time, yes, practices will perish, will vanish, okay, disappear with the world, okay, of course. Are transient. These are transient, are very quick to end. Okay. So we have flimsy, ephemeral, and transiency. Let's talk about flimsiness, ephemerality, and transiency of worldly, earthly pleasures, for example. Okay. So, but we put flimsy in a specific context, and ephemeral is also forth. Yeah, they are transient. They are not everlasting. Is that clear?
Yes, Professor.
Okay, okay. I think. Okay. I talk about antonymy and then I stop there because it's so antonymy. On the other hand, it is also like synonymy. Okay, it's a lexical like reiteration. It's a lexical device. Lexical. It functions within the lexicon, and it functions by the lexicon. Okay, in and within and by the lexicon. Yes, it's at the end of the word. It's words. It's a word game. Word game. The whole of speech or writing is a word game. I mean, of course, game here doesn't mean it's a it's a play, but it's a matter of using words. Yeah, it's all about word usage or word use. Yeah, it's a lexical device. Okay, that serves to express a relationship of oppositeness, antonymy, almost opposite to synonym, opposition, oppositionality, or oppositeness, to indicate cohesion in a given context. For example, quick, fast, and slow, sluggish. Quick, fast, slow, and sluggish. They are opposite to slow and sluggish, opposite to quick and fast. Big, large, enormous, mighty, and small, little, tiny, petit, for example. Happy, glad, joyful, and sad, dejected, unhappy, haggard, I don't know, upset, and so on and so forth. Rich, affluent, wealthy, and poor, for example. Poor or destitute. Again, you can add destitute there. Or impoverished. Poor, impoverished, destitute, and rich, affluent, wealthy. So, we have an example here. The man who was so unhappy when he got sentenced to 6 months imprisonment. Okay. However, a few weeks later, when he was set free, he was very joyful. So the very same man in the very same text, okay, in two states of feeling, of being. First time is complete unhappiness, hapless, very sad, okay, because 6 months imprisonment. That was not a long period, of course. But still, after a few weeks later, when he was set free, he was very joyful. Yeah. So we are unhappy and we have joyful in contrast to each other, in opposition to each other. They are two antonyms used in the same text, expressing opposite meanings, but opposite feelings also. So how you set these is that you can, in terms of lexical cohesion approach, discourse analysis, in terms of antonymy. In this, we have the two adjectives, unhappy and joyful, or so unhappy and very joyful, as expressing this opposition or oppositeness of meanings, relationship between the two words in the same text for the same person who felt unhappy when he went to prison, and who felt joyful when he was set free. So unhappiness and joyfulness come in antonymy, or opposite relationship in one and same text. That gives some lexical cohesion to the text, yeah. And of course, lexical, say, cohesiveness and lexical coherence to the text. The same for the twins have different threats. Twins have different threats. Ali is fast. Ali is fast, though oftentimes shoddy in doing things. Shoddy, like not really firm in things. Yeah. He's fast, but shoddy. Not very minute in doing things, not very diligent in things. However, Ahmed is sluggish, slow, but always comes out perfect in most of the things he does. So he is sluggish, but he does things perfect. Okay. But the other guy, Ali, is fast, but he's shoddy. I mean, in doing things. So here we have like two again short text talking about Ali and Ahmed. Ali is as fast as shoddy, and Ahmed as sluggish but perfect in doing things. So this is how antonymy is operationalized in these examples to mark lexical cohesion, and how we can use this as a level of discourse analysis. Is that clear?
Professor, please.
Yes, Professor.
Okay, so
yes, Professor.
thank you. So I think I just I have to stop today. Right? My slide was also anyway. Actually, it's almost now 10 to 2. If you have any questions, go ahead. If you have questions, so inshallah, I don't know, maybe one more session left or so. I don't know. We are waiting for the administration to determine and to specify the end of classes date and the finals date, and then based on that we will say how are we going to proceed with the rest of this the material we have to learn. Okay, or if you have I don't know, yeah. Okay, if you have time, can I move on with 2 more slides?
Yeah, sure, Professor.
Yes, Professor.
Yeah, Professor.
Okay, fine. Okay. So we'll talk about hyponymy. I want to finish with this lexical cohesion, then we're left with pragmatics for one more session. So hyponymy means simply that the meaning of a lexical general item, okay, known as the superordinate, includes or subsumes, okay, other words inside, which are called the hyponyms. So for example, vegetable. If we speak about vegetables, so we have potato, tomato, I don't know, cabbage, lettuce, carrot, radish, all this. Okay, and if we talk about insect, okay, so the superordinate is vegetables. That is the superordinate. Okay, and the rest are hyponyms. Okay, potato as one so. Insect with the grasshopper, cockroach, I don't know, termite, I don't know, praying mantis, and so on. Computer, then we have laptop, desktop, palm top, digital, then wristwatch, then mobile phone, tablets, and so on. If we speak about cats, we have tigers, we have puma, we have leopard, we have lion, we have cheetah, and so on. If we speak about clothes, then you have shirts, trousers, blouse, skirts, coats, and so on. If we speak, I don't know, flowers, then you have hibiscus, rose, I don't know, daffodil, I don't know, lilies, rose, periwinkles, I don't know, a lot of the names of those flowers. So, for example, my daughter loves flowers. Her favorite ones are rose and lily. Okay? So flowers is the superordinate. Okay? Lexical general item called superordinate. Okay? This, which includes or subsumes in it other called hyponyms. Hyponyms. So, like say, flowers is the superordinate, and rose and lily are the hyponyms of flowers. So, for example, a lion is such a fearful animal. Nobody dares to stand without shaking at the first sight of the big cat. Yeah, because lion belongs to the family of cats. Yeah. Fearful, big cats. So cat is the superordinate, and lion is the hyponym. So here you can say we have used a lexical cohesion approach to discuss of this two sentences 7 and 8. Okay, and we have identified the existence of hyponymy. Okay, we have a case of hyponymy, and where the first one we have flowers as the superordinates and rose and lily as the hyponyms. In the example number 8, we have the superordinates as cat and lion as the as hyponym. Yeah, and so on. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay. Now collocation. Talk about collocation. Last slide. Okay. Collocation. It refers to the habitual co-occurrence of certain words which frequently occur together more than others do. So, according to Firth, for example, who Firth is one of the most known discourse analysts, okay, G.R. Firth, who first talked about collocation. He said, "You know a word by the company it keeps." Yeah, words keep company. Okay. So you know a word by the company it keeps. So very frequently, when we mention a particular word, words usually associated with it come to our minds. That is collocational. Relationships. Collocational relationships in language. For example, library. When we say library, then we have those like to read, silence, borrow, catalog, book, shelves, and so on and so forth. When we say car, you have to drive, road, engine, I don't know, garage, mechanic, highway, seat belts, petrol, and so on. We see hospital, then you have patient, doctor, word, outpatient, theater, nurse, I don't know, casualty, diagnosis, and so on. When we see computer, you have program, word processing, software, internet, documents, files, Microsoft flashes, drive, CDs, and so on and so forth. We said yesterday that you have headlines, editor, adverts, editorial, news editors, I don't know, editors, reports, leads, I don't know, news stories, news narratives, and so on and so forth. So these are the idea of collocation. You have words that go with certain words. When we have some of them, the kind of bring to mind by means of association other related words. So here again, you can find them in a given text. Okay, for example, you have library is used and define different words like borrow, catalog, and then say we have a case of collocation from the perspective of lexical cohesion to discourse analysis, and we have the example of the word library, and besides we have words that comes up, that's collocate with it. And you give the words, maybe book, maybe shelves, maybe shelves, and so on and so forth. Yes. Is that it?
Yes, Professor.
Okay. So next time we move to pragmatics. Yeah. So now we are done with the lexical, grammatical cohesion, lexical cohesion. Okay. And next time we move to pragmatics. Please remind me that we stop here next time. Okay.
Yes, okay, Professor.
Okay. So do you have any questions?
Professor, is collocation
Yes.
like hyponymy to some extent? For example, in hospital, we can say it includes, like we
Yeah.
can say it includes patients, nurses, doctors.
No, please. Not that way, no. I give you an example of flowers in hyponymy, flowers. So when we see lily is a flower, rose is a flower, daffodil is a flower, chrysanthemum is a flower. So all of them are flowers, but they have different names. But we call them as flowers, yeah, as separate otherness. But we can say a patient is a hospital or a diagnosis is a hospital. No, they are not. But they are words which collocate, with the word hospital. When we say hospital, then the jargon of hospital comes to mind. Patients, I don't know, registration, I don't know, diagnostics, I don't know, surgeries, I don't know, sections. Yeah, but these words, they don't mean hospital. Yeah. We can't call them, interchangeably as hospital. No. Yeah. So hyponymy and collocation, they are different. Is that clear?
Yes, understood.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any more questions? So, if no questions, alhamdulillah, today we have a 2-hour class. Okay, good. 30 minutes. Okay, but so I see you next time, inshallah. Okay.
Okay, Professor.
Thank you,
Inshallah.
Professor.
Okay. So have
Thank you, Professor.